So, my name is Emily Elliott, and I'm a reporter for East Lansing Info who's been covering issues related to East Lansing Public Schools. Today, I have with me Dr. Jane Turner, a local pediatrician and former school board trustee. And we're here to interview Ms. Debbie Walton, one of our school board candidates. So, I will take it away and ask the first question. If you were elected to the school board, you will have to deal with a major public health crisis. Talk about how you see yourself handling this in terms of decision making.
Absolutely. Obviously, this pandemic is unlike anything we've seen before, and I know people are tired of hearing the word unprecedented, but it truly is. If elected, I wouldn't be joining the board until January. And so at that point, I'm hopeful that some of the plans going forward will already have been set. If they haven't, then I guess my job as a member of the board would be to help direct the superintendent and the upper administration in terms of what we want to see going forward. Personally, right now, since I have no idea what things are going to look like in January, what I would say is the district is desperately in need of a plan going forward. And we don't need to know all of the details of exactly what's going to happen. But for instance, on Monday night, we heard Ms. Lako talk about the fact that she didn't want to make a plan until we know precisely how many students are coming back. And if I were on the board right now, what I would be encouraging instead is that we make different plans, knowing that we're either going to have 25 to 50% of the kids coming back, or 50 to 75, or 75 to 100. Let's make 3 different plans. I understand that logistically that seems impossible, but there are going to be overlaps in the plans. Let's make plans to see what we would do in each of those circumstances. Then when the time comes for us to actually get back to school, then we would be able to pull one of those plans and be off and running. I think the other decision that we need to know sooner rather than later is, what are our metrics for actually getting back? So for instance, in St. John's, they're saying a 5% positivity rate is their cutoff for going in person. We don't have those numbers yet. We don't have those metrics. And I'd really like to see something concrete.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm going to switch themes a little bit and talk about equity and inclusion. The district has identified equity and inclusion as an important goal and has pursued this by developing a new handbook of policies and by making plans to make the faculty better represent the diversity of the student body. Talk about how you see this issue.
Absolutely. So I think when we talk about equity, most people have seen the cartoon that describes equity versus equality. And the concept, this cartoon shows 3 people of different heights trying to watch a baseball game, and there are, some of them can't see and one of them can. And the idea of equality is that you give them all the same height box, and still some of them can't see, and now some of them are too tall. But the idea of equity is that you tailor what is given to each individual person according to their needs. And so in the cartoon depicting equity, each person is given a box that perfectly matches their height, and the person who's tall enough doesn't receive a box because they don't need one. I think the idea of equity is incredibly important because it encapsulates the idea of meeting each student where they are and providing them exactly what they need to get them to the educational outcome that they can achieve. I see 2 particular issues that I'd really like our district to address. One of them is the hiring practices and policies. I feel like the board is making good headway on that, and they're working hard on that. Another issue that I have heard about over the years from many, many people is that parents have to advocate incredibly hard for the resources that their kids need. And so what ends up happening is that we end up with this incredibly inequitable system where the kids who get the resources that they need are the ones whose parents have the time and the ability and the energy and, quite honestly, just the knowledge that the resources are there to go ahead and do that advocacy. I would love us to put into place a system that really begins in elementary school and continues all the way up to identify students who have atypical needs, put into place in-district options for those kids, and then communicate all of the options in a clear and timely manner so that the families know what the options are for those students and they don't have to spend this energy and time advocating.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. So the next
Yeah,
question we
go ahead.
have, sorry. Oh, how do you understand the role of a trustee in relationship to the district administration? What do you see as your chief responsibility in this area?
Absolutely. So the Michigan Association of School Boards lays out the role of a school board trustee as saying it's threefold. The first is to hire and evaluate a superintendent. Second is to set the policies for the district. And the third is to set a budget. And when you set a budget, you set the priorities for the district. So in terms of the role as it relates to the administration, the role is as one particular member of a 7-person board, you have to work together with the board to essentially evaluate, is the superintendent doing the job that you want a superintendent to do? They do this with job evaluations each year, and they also do it by essentially the president of the board works with the superintendent to go ahead and set the agenda and set the priorities. My role as a trustee would be to work with the other members of the board to shape those policies, shape the priorities, and ensure that the superintendent and the upper administration are pursuing the goals that we have in mind. I should also add to that quickly, because I don't think my time is quite up for this question, that the other important part, really the primary part, is listening to the community and finding out what the priorities are and what are the policies that the community wants in place. It's not just what I would want as a trustee, but it's listening to find out what the community wants and then representing that as the member of the board.
Okay. Well, I'm going to move ahead on this on much on the same theme on the role, and talk about getting up to speed. Learning the policies, the laws, the rules, and protocols. How will you approach bringing yourself up to speed?
Absolutely. So I do have some experience not being on a school board or as an elected official, but I've been volunteering in the district and taken a lot of different leadership roles. So I've been on various parent councils as the president and vice president. I've also been the president of the district parent council. And so I've had a lot of time. I've been doing this for more than a decade. I've had a lot of time to attend school board meetings and follow what's been going on. I've been doing this very closely. In terms of the specific laws that I would need to learn that I don't already know, first thing I would do is I'd get signed up for one of the Michigan Association of School Board training sessions. They have trainings for each new member that you can attend, and they will bring you up to speed as quickly as possible. I would also reach out to fellow board members and find out what their experiences have been and find out what they would advise me to do to get up to speed as quickly as possible.
Very good. Yes. When I joined the board, I found the MASB trainings to be very helpful.
Great.
Great. What programs at East Lansing Public Schools, educational or otherwise, would you like to see the district devote more resources to, and how might you make that happen?
Absolutely. Personally, well, education-wise, one of the things that I'd really love us to do, and I'm not sure, quite honestly, I'm not sure how many resources this would really take, but going back to what I was talking about earlier in terms of the inequitable system requiring a lot of advocacy, one of the things that we have in place right now is that when kids enter the middle school in 6th grade, and I'm not sure if every parent knows that this happens, but kids who want to can take a placement test to essentially try to pass out of 6th grade or 6th and 7th grade math. One of the things I'd really like to see is I'd like to make sure that at the elementary level, even starting as early in 2nd and 3rd grade, we start to encourage kids who are just come to math naturally to consider working on their own or even creating an in-district program, and this is where the resources might come in, creating an in-district program to help these kids work ahead in the curriculum so that if they want to pass out of those math classes and set themselves up to then go ahead and work ahead in the science curriculum in high school, because the two are connected. then they would have that ability to do that. I'm not sure that was incredibly clear. So let me just make let me step back and clarify that a little bit. If you do pass out of 6th or 7th grade math and you work ahead, you end up entering high school 1 year or 2 years ahead in the math curriculum. By doing that, you are then enabled to step out of the standard science curriculum. This is a new curricular policy that was written this summer. And instead of taking physical science, life science, and earth and space science, you can actually take AP Physics 1 as a freshman to replace physical science. You can take AP Bio to replace life science. You still have to take earth and space science as a junior or whenever you'd like. And then as a senior, you could take another AP Science if you wish. This is clearly for kids who really feel like they are headed towards a career in STEM. But if you don't know in elementary school that you want to take this test to pass out of this math year, then you aren't eligible to do this in high school. So we need to step back. We need to make sure that we are dedicating the resources to the kids in elementary school to prepare them for taking this path if they want it. Now, clearly this is just for high achieving kids, which are a small percentage of our population, but I also don't think this would take a lot of resources to enact. So this is something I'd like to see happen.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah. And I think we're coming into our last questions, which you have already touched on.
Oh, okay.
You might have more to say about how you would like to engage with parents, including those who are uninformed, who may be informed but disagree with you.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things I like to think is that I am good at listening to other people. I'm happy to listen if somebody disagrees with me. I like to think that I have an open mind. One of the issues that I am currently seeing, particularly in the atmosphere with COVID, is that people have a lot of questions. And I'm finding that people are going on Facebook and there's a lot of discussion that's going on, and people are being told, come to the school board meeting and ask your questions. But then they come to the school board meeting and they find that there's actually no time to ask questions, because you can give public comment, or you can sit and listen, or you can email the superintendent, who is incredibly busy right now trying to put together plans. And it doesn't seem like there's any good forum for actually having your questions answered by members of the board or upper administration. And so I would actually love to put together Q&A sessions. Just allow people to approach the board and just ask, just get the information that they want. You know, my email inbox would always be open, my phone line would always be open, and I'd love to talk to people to find out what their thoughts are, what their ideas are. You know, because a 7-person board is not going to come up with all the ideas in the world. Let's hear it.
Okay, well, thank you.
Sure.
Emily, how much time do we have?
We have 2 minutes and 37 seconds left.
All right, you have expressed yourself very well, Debbie. So you have a little bit of time. Is there something more? Is there more you would like the viewers of this video, which will be the electorate of East Lansing? Do you have anything you'd like to say?
I guess the only thing I'd like to say is, I guess, why I'm running. And, you know, when people ask me, what I tell them is that it's because I love East Lansing. And I know that sounds hokey, but, you know, I moved here from California almost exactly 17 years ago. And I had no idea what to expect. I was moving from big cities. I had lived in Miami, Boston, and near San Francisco. And, you know, I was moving to a place that I really had no preconceived notions of. And it turns out that I love this city. It's diverse. We have a ton of resources at our disposal. And our schools should really be a point of pride for our community. But there are so many people who are disenchanted with what they're seeing, whether it's the COVID response, or whether it's our academics in general, or what they perceive as the district's priorities. And you know, I've been volunteering a long time in the district, trying to support our teachers and trying to provide educational opportunities to every child. And I would love to join the board now to try and have an impact at a much bigger, broader level, to just try and help shape the policies and set the priorities, get us to focus on our academics, and really make the schools the prideful, you know, not prideful, but the point of pride that they should be in our area.
Okay, well, thank you. Do you have any follow-up questions, Emily?
No, I just want to thank Debbie for giving us her time this afternoon.
Yes,
Well,
thank you
for
very
having
much.
me.
Thank you very much. It was very
Thank
helpful.
you.
Have a great day.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Bye-bye.